Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unleash Your Power. My name is Jeffrey Pinzon. For you to take us back to your upbringing, how did you get started, a little bit about who you are, so like that the audience could get to know you.
Born in Mexico.
Okay.
So I came to the United States when I was 12 years old, and no English. Subway was one of my first job.
Making
I was
sandwiches.
working in the Subway.
Nice.
I was a sandwich artist. It was a job that helped me a lot learn about sales. My dad did tell me, hey, you should check your real estate.
And what continued for you to master your craft?
I think I always want to give credit to my past experiences, because I think all your past experiences help you become who you are.
They try to give you a raise or something to keep you some incentives.
But see, that's another thing I learned young. I was like, if I learned so much already from these guys that do pretty well, I learned the good and the bad.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unleash Your Power. My name is Jeffrey Pinzon. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Today I have the great pleasure of interviewing someone who has made a name for himself in the real estate space. Christian Fuentes has been in the real estate industry for over 22 years, ladies and gentlemen. Him and his wife they're co-owners of Remax top producer out here in Diamond Bar, Brea, and Chino Hills. Together they have built a phenomenal empire. Today he is a top producer still, but now he's transitioning to teaching others how to build wealth in real estate through his mentorship and leadership, teaching other people how to get better and become better human beings. They've also came out in the show HDTV, Fearless Flips, where they teach others how to flip homes and bring them back to life. Today we're gonna get a ton of value from this gentleman. Hope you guys are taking copious notes in this episode. Without further ado, please help me welcome the one and only Christian Fuentes.
Thank you, brother.
My man, thank you for taking the
Thanks for
time.
having me.
I know that you have a busy schedule.
Thank you.
We're on a short time, but I want to first of all thank you for allowing us to come out here and sit down with you and really pick your brain a little bit about your background, your upbringing, and how have you become so successful in this space of real estate. It's about 90% of realtors, what I've learned is that they fail in this space. Mm-hmm. So what has made you so phenomenal successful? I want for you to take us back to your upbringing. How did you get started? A little bit about who you are, so like that the audience can get to know.
Sure, definitely. And just real quick, I want to say thank you for having me. I watched a couple of your shows, and then when you asked me to be here, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because he's interviewed some pretty big players. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you.
Really appreciate that. So just going back, I mean, I don't know how back you want me to go, but I was born in Mexico.
Okay.
So I came to the United States when I was 12 years old, and no English. Came to the United States. My dad worked for A1 Products. He got transferred, so we came legally. Okay. So I want to make it clear we came legal, and came to the United States, and had to learn the language. It was a little tough in the beginning getting to.
How was that like? Because you were 11, 12, you said?
I was 12 years old. It was just different. Being in a new country, no English. We moved to Diamond Bar to top it off. Everybody was white. I was the only Latino there. Nobody could speak to me, and I was a lonely guy back in those days because no friends, and just having to very quickly learn the language. I remember that as I started learning English, I had a really thick accent, coming from Mexico, and my first maybe 5 years being in the United States, learning the language, I had a insecurity of my accent.
Right.
So I hated to speak to people because people would make fun of me.
Right.
Because I would say funny words with
Right.
the accent.
Right.
And growing up, going to school, having to do presentations at school and stuff, I hated to speak. So I was a very quiet guy, believe it or not.
Wow.
Super quiet, wouldn't want to talk to nobody. If I could avoid presentations, I would call in sick those days. Not calling sick, but I wouldn't go to school.
You create something.
Yeah, just so that I wouldn't have to speak in front of the class. So all through my high school, junior high school, I was a very quiet guy.
Okay.
A little shy, Eventually I graduated, got couple of my first jobs. You asked me that earlier. Subway was one of my first job.
Making sandwiches.
Was working in the Subways.
Nice.
I was a sandwich artist, right? They used to call them that. So I worked there. Then I got a job at Raging Waters. That was a cool job as a lifeguard. So, and then eventually I got into retail. I went to work for a shoe store.
Oh wow! What company?
I went to work for Journeys.
Okay.
You know Journeys?
Yeah.
That was
With
my
the bands
first.
and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
first retail job, but at the same time, it was a job that it helped me a lot learn about sales, and it also helped me get more comfortable, more confident speaking to people. I was shy, so I had to obviously engage with people and meet people quickly and build rapport with them. So,
How old were you?
I was probably about 19 years
19
old,
years old.
19, 20
Okay.
at that time. So I think working retail was great for me. It was my first experience selling, and I became a really good salesperson. Eventually, I actually got fired from Journeys, believe it or not, and that's a long story. But I went to another shoe store called Robert Wayne. I don't know if you heard of Robert Wayne. Another big shoe store. They have a lot of shoe stores throughout United States now. Back then, they only had 3 stores. And again, got into sales, got into management, right? I was one of the top salespeople there at the shoe store because, you know, at the shoe store, you would have to sell a pair of shoes, but if you could bring another pair of shoes and sell another pair of shoes, that was great. And if you could sell the socks, and the upselling, and the cream for the shoes, and the polisher, all that, upsell, right? Yeah. And I was really good at that, at selling. So I worked there for a couple of years, and then eventually, that's when I got into the real estate business by accident.
How was that?
Well, my dad actually, I was going to college, working retail. I was not sure what I wanted to do, but I was trying to go into international business. Well, I have no clue. I always thought maybe I could export products somehow from Mexico to the United States. And then
you always had that entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah, I wanted to get into something with that, right? Not really knowing what that really was. I was never a school guy.
Okay.
I was actually more of a decencies kind of guy, not really focused on school, just getting by. So not the best type of student, but I was trying to go to school because obviously your parents always push you to go to school. I kind of felt that it wasn't for me, but I was just obviously doing it for my parents. But my dad did tell me, hey, you should check real estate, you know. And it's funny because he got a course for me to take as an appraiser to learn how to be an appraiser, and I didn't want to do it. He made me go. I took the course. It was interesting, but I couldn't see myself as an appraiser. But in my mind, I was like, well, the real estate agent sounds like they have a better job than the appraiser. You know, it seems like the appraiser works for the real estate agent. Back then, that's what I thought. Right. So I'm like, maybe I should look into real estate, but becoming an agent. And sure enough, while going to school, I was going to Mount San Antonio College those days. I met a guy who was an assistant at a Remax office, and I said, hey, can you help me with the job? And he actually introduced me to a couple people that were looking for assistant. I went to interview one couple here in Walnut as an assistant, no experience, and I was 21 years old, and they actually hired me. Oh. They gave me a shot, no experience in real estate, but they said that they saw potential, that they felt that I could, and they liked my energy, my attitude. So that's how I started real estate as an assistant at 21 years old.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How and what continues for you to master your craft and really dive into real estate? Because a lot of people just dabble with it.
Yes.
They'll come, get the license, they'll close a transaction here and there, but you really build the business.
Yeah.
In this space.
Well, look, I think I always want to give credit to my past experiences, because I think all your past experiences help you become who you are, right? For me, I'm thankful that first I started real estate as an assistant, making minimum wage, working for a great team. Back in those days, that team that I worked for did about 60, 70 transactions. So I learned a lot those 2-3 years on how to become a great assistant. And I was a great assistant. I also got introduced to coaching, Mike Ferry, back in those days. Okay. So I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, because as an assistant, I would listen the coaching calls of my team leaders and how they would coach them and tell them what to do. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. There's coaching to help you get better. I never knew that. and I got really into the coaching, listening to all those calls. I actually asked them to send me to assistant coaching school. So I did that a couple times. So I learned how to become a great assistant. And then from there, eventually I got my license. And I went and I told, at that point, my team leaders, hey, I want to go into selling now. But because I was such a good assistant, they're like, no, you're a great assistant, stay there. And I was like, no, I want to go to sell, I'm ready. And they kind of didn't want me to go to sell. They weren't ready for me to do that. And I got a little taste because I did a couple deals that I helped them with. And I'm like, I could do this, So sure enough, I got my license. And
did they try to give you a raise or something to keep you, some incentives?
They try to keep me in. But see, that's another thing I learned young. I was like, if I learned so much already from these guys that do pretty well, I learned the good and the bad. I was like, well, I'm young, I'm still learning. Could I go work for some of the top, best real estate agents in the area? And that was I made that my goal. I started looking around, I started figuring out who were the top agents in the area at that time.
Why was that so important to you to surround yourself with the top agents?
Because I realized if you work for the best, you're gonna learn.
The best.
And you're gonna become the best.
Right.
And that clicked early in my mind. I was like, coaching, great. Learn from the best, right? And I'm young, so even if they don't pay me crap, I don't care. I'm gonna learn. Sure enough, I hit up two guys, Mark and Al, out in Glendora. They were doing about 150, 200 deals a year. I knew about them because at one of the assistant school, I met their assistant, and I was picking her brain, and she would tell me how they would do their business. And I was like, wow, I gotta work from this kind of guys. And sure enough, I hit them up. They weren't even hiring, but I went to them and I said, hey, I want to work for you. And they're like, who's this guy?
Right.
And it's funny because Mark is white and Al is Middle Eastern.
Okay.
And here's this Mexican guy Latino with an accent going, hey, I want to work for you. No experience really selling, coming from an assistant. And I'm grateful that they actually hired me. They gave me a chance. I had no money. I was broke back in those days. They hired me, and I remember my first 4 months working for them. I think I made like $35,000.
Wow.
Which I was.
Were you on commission already?
Yeah, it was just all commission.
Okay.
All commission. And I remember that I would probably make back in those days $22,000 a year, and that was kind of like really cool. I mean, this is like 20 years ago, and I was like, shit, $35,000 in 4 months, right? I was hustling. I was like really good, getting those leads, converting them, setting appointments, showing property, putting those together. So, sure enough, I was like, still going to school. And I got a taste of selling. I was like, bye school, no more. I dropped out, and that's how I got into real estate. I just basically started selling.
What were some setbacks that you experienced while you were getting your license and everything? Because you talked about you went from somebody that was closing 70 transactions to 150. So that's a totally different ballgame right there. What are some things that you encounter along the process that there were challenges for you or setbacks?
You know what? To be honest with you, I think the challenges that we normally have it's us that we don't believe. Because see, for me to go ask a team like Mark and Al back in those days with no experience to actually have that confidence to say, hey, can you hire me? I want to work for you, and I want to do whatever it takes to be successful in real estate. Most people would never do that. And I don't know, now that I think back, I'm like, shit, that was pretty cool that I did that, because they weren't even hiring. It wasn't like there was a, hey, come apply. It was more like, hey, I want to just come work for you. You know what I mean? And then when I got the actual interview, I basically told them, look, I will do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. So I think a lot of people never take that initiative.
What do you think?
Fear,
right.
Lack of confidence.
Okay.
They don't believe. They just don't think it's for them. I don't think they think it's possible.
So for you, since the moment that you started real estate, you're like, this is for me. This is something that I'm gonna build a business, a career. This is for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And you were certain about it.
Exactly. Like I knew what I wanted, and I knew that if I wanted to be the best, I had to work with the best.
Absolutely.
And that was working for those guys. So.
So now after you went on your own, how was that process? because you became one of the top 250 realtors in
Yes.
the Latino community.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
that's not easy to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, no,
that
that
takes
was
a lot of work, a lot of guts, and a lot of belief in yourself.
exactly. Well, and let me take you back a little bit. Working for those guys, I worked for them for 5 years.
Okay.
Okay, so imagine you surround yourself for 5 years with a top team, and see that's the problem right now with a lot of real estate agents. They go from no experience, they want to do everything on their own. They don't believe in coaching. They don't read books. They don't take mentorship,
Coachable.
and they never grow. They get stuck, you know. Versus sometimes you gotta think back and say, wait, can I give can I give 2, 3, 4, 5 years of my time to work for somebody to teach me and to learn and to get my mindset right, so that I can go out and make a lot more money.
That's key what you said right there, because we tend, like in today, the millennials, they want instant gratification. You were delaying gratification because you were paying, you were learning, you were getting all that knowledge inside of you. To once you were confident, you're like, I'm ready to go, you went out there and you did it by yourself. You were delaying a lot of the gratification, and a lot of people, they want it now.
Exactly, and if you think about it, everything takes time.
Right.
Okay, if you want to be a doctor, 8 years of school, probably even more than that,
Mhm.
right? An attorney, 8, 10 years of schooling. Not to mention, that's just school.
Internship.
Then you gotta do internship.
Yeah.
You don't get paid for that.
That's true.
Then they send you to some third world country, and you spend a couple years out there not making any money. So you actually spend a good 12 to 14 years learning to be a doctor, right? And then eventually, maybe you get a decent job making 60,000, 80,000. Eventually, you can make the big money, right? But it takes time. An athlete has to play 10, 12 years of high school, college, semi-pro,
Yeah.
and you go through all this process,
and then maybe they'll go pro.
and then maybe you go
Yeah.
make the big bucks.
Yeah.
In real estate, people just want to go into it 1 year and make $1 million. It's not possible. They don't want to take the time. They don't want to.
Is it because
educate
it's so
themselves.
easy for them to get licensed that they
Oh.
take it for granted?
It's super easy, but see, to me, getting into real estate is basically you're an entrepreneur, right? You're starting your own business. It's sales, right? And just like any other business out there, how many people put businesses out there that have zero experience being a business owner and fail? And the reality is, 95% of businesses fail, right?
Within the first
Across
5
the board.
years, yeah.
That's the same thing with real estate.
Yeah.
It's a business. So then you get into real estate, you think you know it all. Maybe your ego's too big. You don't want to hear anybody. You don't want to get coaching. You just want to do it on your own because you think you could do it. Most people either fail or it takes them so long to really achieve big success. So I worked for Mark Canal for 5 years, assistant for 3 years, so 8 years working for somebody. My first year in real estate, when I went independent, had a small team, we did $700,000 in commissions.
Wow.
Just like that, right?
You had the system.
I had the systems.
Yeah.
From there, my partnership didn't work. That's when I met my wife. My wife became my partner. We continued building our team. Within maybe a year from that, we started hitting $1 million in production as a team.
Wow.
And I've been doing consistently over $1 million of production every year for the last 8 to 9 years. So consistently. So why? Is because I learned the systems. I learned the formula or the science how to run a successful business, you know. And I have staff, I have agents under me, it's a whole business.
Right.
I have expenses, I
Right.
have overhead.
Right.
But my business continues to run, which
Yeah.
most agents don't ever take the time to build that.
And how is that? Because you went from being just a sales rep to now becoming a sales leader and now a business owner. So
Yeah.
you transition from categories.
Yeah.
And sometimes we go from sales rep to wanting to become a business owner, and we skip a lot of parts, like exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
How was that transition from you just focusing on yourself to now teaching others, mentorship others?
Well, look, yes, you're going to being a real estate agent as a sales rep, but you're still a business owner at that point. I think
Right.
a lot of people don't understand
Okay.
that you're still, in order to
At
be
that point, you're
successful
still a
business
business owner.
in real estate, you already are a business owner, and you can't just be a sales rep. When you're in real estate, and you start your business, I mean, you're a sales rep, you're marketing, you're an accountant, you are customer service. I mean, you're everything, right? Because that's what the business entails. Now, as you get better, hopefully you get help. You delegate some of that busy work so you can go out and do more, right? Now, because of my wife, obviously working together, we realized early on that I'm the salesperson. I'm great at sales, and my wife is great at operations. So we were able to first build a solid team where she was running the operations, I was running the sales. We built it, we were successful doing that. And then we said, oh, can we go bigger? Can we now open an office? Can we run a franchise? We actually took the step to do that. And when we opened the company, we continued to do the same. She runs the operations, I run the sales. I run the sales force. And that's one of the reasons we have been able to continue to keep growing, because we have a great partnership. Right. When a lot of people, first of all, they try to open companies, offices, no partners, by themselves. They're great salespeople, but they're horrible at operations. They're horrible at financials, and they're horrible at leadership. But they're great salespeople. Guess what? They open companies with no partner, no management, no systems. They try to basically run those companies, and it doesn't work because they're salespeople. Right. So you have to figure out what you're good at, and then whatever you lack knowledge on, find someone that can help you with that.
So it's safe to say hire your weakness.
Exactly.
And maximize your strength. You have focus on your strength.
Focus on your strength. You know, some people, which is true. I mean, they say they're in real estate. I hate marketing. I don't know marketing. Well, yes, you don't need to know marketing. I mean, you can learn the basics, but you have to find someone to help you do the marketing so that you can continue to go sell. Right. That's what you're good at.
That's so true.
Maybe you hate sales, and you still get by, and you still do pretty well in real estate. Maybe more referrals. Great. But if you want to build a company, the question is who's going to do the sales? And obviously, maybe you're the one doing the operations. You're doing the back office. You're doing the customer service. You just got to figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then find someone that can help you.
Absolutely.
Build that.
Yeah, I agree. How has it been building a business along with your wife? Because you guys have a successful business, and you guys are also successful in your personal life. Like I see you with your kids at church every Sunday. You guys are constantly working, getting better. You guys contribute a lot. So how has that been? Because I know like sometimes they're like, oh, don't work with your spouse or anything like that. It's gonna be a headache. You're always around them.
Well, for me, it's been a blessing. I always wanted to work with my wife. That was always in the back of my mind, writing my goals back when I was single, and figuring out who the perfect wife was. And I believe in that. You have to be clear on what you want.
So you wrote down exactly what your wife looked like, how you wanted it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had from going to coaching seminars and stuff, they said, be clear what you want, write down your goals. And I remember I had the goals of the perfect woman. And when I met Jeanette, I was like, man, this is the one. But I never thought she was gonna be attracted to me. That's another long story, but to make it quick, I used to be pretty chubby. I was almost 200 pounds. We met because she used to work next door to me, and she owned a restaurant to top it off. So I would go eat there all the time. I was chubby. She was a beautiful woman, and we became friends. But I was like, this girl's not gonna look at me. I mean, and I was pretty wild too back in those days. So, but long story short, we became friends, and then they ended up selling the restaurant. And then she wanted to get in real estate, and I said, hey, you should join my team. I run a team. Come down and maybe let's talk about how we can help you to get into business. And sure enough, she did join my team, and never
did she
thought
reinvent everything because now she's operations.
Well, no, back then she was selling.
Okay.
So she joined my team as an agent to sell, right? Okay. And she was actually really good. And again, never thought nothing was gonna happen. Eventually, we became really good friends. Things happened, and then we ended up dating. But at that point, we realized that she was always that she was good in operations, and she could handle all the financials and the staff, and then I ended up focusing on the sales. So and I think that's one thing, and going back to this, so first, I'm blessed to work with my wife. I always wanted that. And then second, that she also wants to be involved with the business, because I think that's the problem. Sometimes you might have a significant other that you want them to be your right hand, but maybe they don't have passion for it.
Right.
Maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe they just want to be housewives, or maybe they want to have their own careers. And then you're pushing someone to be part of your dream, and maybe they're not part of that dream. That doesn't mean you cannot be married and still have a great life. It's just both of you have to be, connected, knowing that you want to do the same thing. So I think for us,
both of you guys knew that's what you guys
exactly.
wanted to do.
Now, if you do, then figure out what your weaknesses and your strengths are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jeanette were clear, because that's another thing I see with a lot of couples. You got husband and wife, and they both want to go sell, and it's almost they're competing against each other to see who makes more sales, right? And it's like, well, do you like sales? No, but I go do it. Do you like sales? Yeah, I love sales. Well, why don't you maybe run the operations? All the sales go to your husband. Let him do that, and then you do this. But figure out what you both like. Again, strengths and weaknesses. So I see that a lot, and me and Jeanette do sometimes sit with our agents, and they have their teams that they're trying to grow with their significant others. And we go through this, and we figure out what each role should be. Maybe even the woman wants to go sell, and the husband could be better at the operations. You just have to figure out what you're good at.
Right.
So for us, it was clear from the beginning. And the last thing is, you got to respect each other. You got to trust each other. So Jeanette, as you know, we have a big company now. Financials, I trust her 100%.
So you don't deal with none of that?
None of that.
Wow. Okay.
I obviously, we have our meetings, we go over P&Ls and all that stuff, expenses, but she runs that mainly. Staff, management. She does the interviewing process, finding the right people, the hiring. I do get involved normally when she needs a second opinion. She says, hey Christian, I'm looking at hiring this person. I'd really like to get your opinion. I'll jump in, I'll do one interview and see if I see something she didn't see, or because we're always trying to find talent. That's a big part of being a business owner, is finding talent.
Right. How many agents do you guys currently have?
So we're
3 offices, right?
Yeah, 3 offices now. We're almost at 200 agents.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's in a matter of what, 8 years you said?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years. It's our 7th year. Almost 200 agents and growing. 3 offices.
Did you ever imagine this for you, Christian?
Actually, it's funny you asked that. We never thought it was going to get this big. I remember opening the office, the first one, and we were like, we can get 20, 25 agents. We're happy.
Yeah.
And then I remember going to some of the broker events, Remax big broker events, and going to award ceremonies and stuff, and seeing companies with 100 agents and going, oh my God, 100 agents, there's no way, like we never want to do that. And I think it's something that it happened gradually, and I'm glad it did, because I think as you build something, you realize, I can handle this, I believe in, God has a plan. So
right.
you build something, you go, okay, this is good, I got this, can I go bigger? Okay, yeah, why not? And then you gradually go bigger, and then, but always with a solid foundation, and then you keep going bigger and bigger and bigger, and every step you're preparing yourself to grow.
Right.
So
what are some challenges that you encounter? Because the bigger you get, the bigger the responsibility, the bigger the challenges.
Yeah.
I hear this from a lot of successful people. It's like the bigger that you're gonna get, the bigger the problem that you gotta solve.
Yeah. So. But I tell you, the problems are always there. The challenges are always gonna be there. They're the same.
It's whether it's 20 agents or 300 agents or 1,000 agents.
It's the same. It's more about how you deal with those problems and the experiences you have. Because a problem or an issue I could have had 5 years ago, I'm gonna bump into it now. The only difference is that now I already dealt with it multiple times, and I could get through it like this, right?
So is it based on experience?
It's experiences that you go through, and also your mindset. Because we can, rewind 6 years ago. If we get a lawsuit, it would be like, oh shit, I just got sued for $200,000. What the hell? And you start thinking, I'm gonna close down, I'm done, whatever, what am I gonna do? And there's a lot of liability owning an office.
Mm-hmm.
Now with this many agents, we can get lawsuits every other week. You know what I mean? But not to say that happens, but what I'm trying to say is it's part of the business.
You already know
we
it
know
comes
how
with
to
it.
deal with it.
Yeah.
We know we have to get the attorneys. We know we have to settle on some things. We know it's just part of you building a big business. And if you want to play with the big boys, you gotta sometimes deal with big boy problems, and sometimes those are the problems you have to deal with. Where I talk to sometimes people that try to open companies, and they always tell me, you always hear the same story. Oh my God, it was too much work, the liability, the lawsuits, the staff, all this stuff, and they're like, no, it wasn't for me. And you have to understand that's part of the business. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you go bigger, you gotta deal with that. If you don't want to deal with that, then don't open an office,
Mm-hmm.
because it's there.
Right.
It's gonna happen. So and you get used to it. You get thicker skin,
You can build that rhino skin.
and you build the rhino skin, and you also you get stronger mindset.
So how have you worked? Because you turn your life around. You say you were over 200 pounds. You even turn your life around in your fitness, your health, everything. How strong has your mind have to be? Like, what are things that because you wake up really early. I just saw you in the morning. You were at 5 o'clock and working out already.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you do still today to keep that age?
I think it's all habits. Building good habits and routines. For me, my routine is waking up early. I work on my body.
Okay.
I pray. I get home. I go over my goals. I know what I want. I have all these goals that I have written down, and I go through those every single morning, and I visualize things that I want. So it's a whole morning routine that just gets you prepared mentally, right? And then, for me, first thing is always God, family, health, business, financials. Those are my 5 top, And I know you know Sam talks about the same 5 F's, right?
The 5 F's.
And if you start thinking about what makes people successful, it's because they follow that. You have to have your priorities set straight. And for me, my family is definitely one of my top priorities. So everything around my life, even my business, revolves around my family. And see, that's the secret that a lot of people don't understand. If I know that I'm there for my family, if I know that I'm there for my kids, if I know that I can get home and spend time with my kids, see them in the morning, spend weekend with them, I make those priorities, and everything goes around that. So then that keeps me happy, keeps me focused, keeps me motivated.
That's your purpose, your desire.
Because that's my purpose.
Yeah.
Most people do the opposite. They say they have their family as a priority, but their actions don't show it. And they're always canceling stuff on their family. They're always postponing things. They never have time off for the family. They react to everything, and then their lives are all hectic. And then they don't understand. Oh my God, why I'm so stressed? I have so much going on. I'm not happy. Whatever. Well, it's because you don't have your priorities there. And then health is huge too. If you're eating like crap, if you don't exercise, if you don't have energy, especially in this business,
then you're not gonna have energy to spend time with your kids, take them out running, all that stuff.
that too. You won't have energy for that. You won't have energy to show up to work feeling good, meeting clients. The first impression you make with people. It's all tied together. So I think it's definitely it's where people have to go sit down, figure out what they really want, follow those steps, and then take action.
Right.
And really live that lifestyle. When I was 200 pounds, it wasn't an accident. It's because I was eating like crap.
Your habits were different.
I was drinking a ton of soda. I was eating tacos late night, tummies.
After the club.
I was young. I was going out a lot. I was eating like crap, drinking a lot. I had so many bad habits. I'm like 163 pounds right now. So think about that. I'm almost 40 pounds lighter. So it's not an accident either. It's because I eat good.
It was by design.
I by design. I eat good during the week. I do eat a little more different things on the weekend, but overall I have a pretty good routine. If I have pizza, I have pizza, but I have one pizza. I don't have 10 pizza slices, right? I don't drink soda whatsoever. I drink.
So what was your breaking point to get? Because I'm at 200, and you saw that it was gonna become an issue in the future.
I was 30 years old. Here I'm dating my wife. My wife's hot, and we would go to the gym and we work out together. And then I would always be telling her like, "Hey, I used to be like very fit. I used to have a six pack," and I always bragging. And then now I'm chubby. Always talking about the past.
Living in the past.
One day Jeanette goes, "Why you keep always saying you used to be?"
Ooh.
She's like, "Why are you now?" And it just hit me. I'm like, "Oh shit, that's crazy. That's true.
That's true.
What's holding me back?"
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people also do that. They feel like their best time was already in the past, and now it's like almost downhill. And you can't have that. You gotta be thinking always, no, my time is not even here yet. I'm not even halfway where I want to be, right? And always still go bigger, and that's why every year in our office, if you notice, every year we go bigger, best year ever.
Yeah.
We always want to do
10x in your
10x, go bigger. Because who wants to go smaller? Who wants to go backwards? You know what I mean? So for me, that was an eye-opening when she told me that, and then sure enough, it was okay. Change my habits. I got a trainer. I hired a trainer. Was a bodybuilder, ripped. And I said, "Hey, can you train me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll train you at 6 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning." And I just started doing that, and I dropped in like a year. I dropped 40 pounds. Got pretty ripped.
So when you were at that point, you weren't waking up at 5 o'clock to go work out,
Oh, no.
right?
I wasn't even working out. I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating good. I mean, so again, all those bad habits is what stops you from growing.
Yeah.
And even
A few things that I
Make it
click right
worse.
now that you said, you're always got to be outworking yourself, getting better, outperforming, pretty much growing yourself every day, because if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So every year, what you said, your company, you guys are always wanting to get better, because if you guys are the same company that you guys were last year, you guys are going to get left behind with the competition and everything.
Exactly.
So you're always got to be striving to get better and grow and become better contribution. I want to touch on contribution now, Christian, because I know that's a huge thing for you and your wife. You guys are always contributing, giving back. What are some things that you guys are currently doing to contribute?
one of the big ones we do every year is
why is it so important?
Sure. One of the big ones we do every year is the Children's Hospital. We do a poker charity event, which is actually going to happen this week, November 16th. So everyone's invited. Mm-hmm. Love for you to go.
Yeah, absolutely, I'll be there.
You play poker?
A little bit.
Okay, cool. So it's a poker tournament, but at the same time, it's just a huge event. So it's also for networking, mixer. We raised $51,000 last year.
Wow.
And all goes to Children's Hospital Miracle Network.
That's through your network, right?
Yeah.
So the people, other people.
Well, $51,000 was raised just from the poker event.
That's not including other.
No.
Wow.
On top of all the money we donate as a company from all my agents and everything else, we donated last year close to $100,000 to Children's Hospital. And every year is getting bigger. So this is our 6th annual. Last year we did 51,000. The year before we did like 42,000. So like every year we're bumping it up by $10,000.
Every time you grow, you give back more.
And we go bigger, right?
Wow.
Go big, go home. So best year ever. So this year we want to raise $60,000. So it's again, it's giving back. That
why do you do it?
Well, you know, the Children's Hospital, we got involved with them about 6 years ago, or maybe 7 years ago, right when we opened our company. And you know, I'm blessed to have 2 healthy kids. My daughter's 8, my son is 5 years old. And when we got exposed to Children's Hospital, we actually went, and my daughter was probably a year old, and when we realized all the things they did for children, and how they would take care of their families, and how people could actually do all these things with Children's Hospital for free. You know, they will take you in for free. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously you can have insurance, but if you don't have insurance, you can actually go to Children's Hospital and you can qualify to have your baby be seen by some of the best doctors for free.
Wow.
It's
and that's part through all the people that give to the.
Yeah, it's privately funded. So we saw what they were doing. We got a little an experience on what they did, and we were like, you know what, we got to do something for them. We got to give back. Also to thank God for giving us healthy kids. Well, back then it was only one, and we were like, we're in. So sure enough, we had our first poker event. The reason we did a poker event was because I love poker. So I've always been a poker player.
Nice.
So we went to a poker event, and I think they raised like 10 grand or something. And we're like, oh my
So you got
God,
the idea.
this is pretty cool. Imagine we have an event, play poker, and at the same time, have a mixer, have fun, and then give back. Like
Right.
best of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's how it started. And then first, I think the first one we did, we raised like 12, 13 grand. And then we're like, great. Next one got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now we're at 60,000. And I tell you, I think as you realize, how blessed you are, and all the, all the people around you on your business, and things are going good. I think there's always something in the back of your mind you should say, how can I give back? How can I help others?
How can I bless other people?
Bless other people. So that's a big one that we have every year. So that one, we also do with one of our agents, Peter, we do a sleeping bag drive.
Yeah.
That's also a big
Every
one.
year you guys do that.
Yeah, last year I think we raised about 500 sleeping bags
Wow.
that we're giving to homeless. That's another big one. So, and here and there we're also going to different other events and try to support and help others. So it's just gotta give back. It's part of just say thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm grateful. That's you giving back and welcoming more into your life. That's one thing that they're doing. They're coming from a place of abundance. So when you're coming from a place of abundance, you're never coming from a place of lack. So you're always wanting to give back because you know that you're gonna get it back, and not expecting anything in return, but you know that the universe is gonna give you more because you're constantly growing. You're constantly working on yourself. So you know that that's gonna come automatically.
Exactly.
Absolutely. How did you guys get into HDTV? Because that's amazing.
Yeah, no, that was a cool experience.
How was that, man?
It was great. I tell you, it's flipping has been part of my business for now. I've been flipping for about 7 years now.
Wow. What made you get into that space? Because that's totally different than
the flipping. Yeah, totally different business. Also, it was something where I been in the business for 22 years, but part of me being in the business, I work with a lot of investors. So I work with investors where I would find in deals, and I learned a lot from those investors where I realized me working as an agent, making okay money but not enough money to invest back in those days. I realized that I was working for tips and my investors were making the big money. And I'm finding these deals, and that's when something clicked, because I would find a deal, give it to an investor, make $5,000 commission.
they're making
My investor will fix it up, either keep it as a rental for a couple of years or flip it right away, and they will make $50,000 to $100,000, and I'm making crap.
5,000. Wow.
So
And you're doing all the work.
and I'm doing the work of finding the deal,
Yeah.
right? So that's when I did something click. I started looking about how could I get into investing and flipping, and that's kind of what started. And then when I got into flipping, I started buying trustee sales. I don't know if you heard of trustee
What's
sales,
that?
but trustee sales are properties that are sold at the auctions.
Okay.
Every house that gets foreclosed on has to go through an auction process,
Okay.
where they actually auction homes at the court steps, and people can
Okay.
show up and bid on a home,
You gotta buy cash?
and you buy cash.
Okay.
You bring cashier's checks. If you get the deal, you buy it right there and then, and you own a house,
Okay.
right? And there's a whole science behind how to buy trustee sales. But I learned it, and I studied how to buy houses at
Is
trustee
there a
sales.
lot of liability because you don't know what the property
Oh,
is?
yeah,
or-
a lot.
Yeah.
You're buying houses that you've never seen.
So how do you do that then?
Oh my God! If I would want it, that would be like a
We need another podcast with that one.
because trustee sale, it's definitely not for everybody. And I actually teach some of my agents how to do that.
Wow.
And we bought a lot of
I
houses.
would love to learn that myself,
I bought,
man.
yeah, bought over 100 houses through the trustee sale
Wow.
auctions. But I actually self-trained myself how to buy trustee sales, because I would go to the auctions, sit there for hours, watch the investors buy houses. I would ask them questions. I would then follow their projects, see what they would do, how would they rehab them, how they would sell them, how would they get possession of the homes, because some of them are occupied. So I studied that. Eventually, I kind of thought I had it down, and then I went to one of my clients who was also an investor, but he was buying rentals, and he was pretty wealthy. He was a Chinese guy, and I said, "Hey, you want to go into buying auctions?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Look, come down." I flew him down from San Francisco, showed him the auctions, the process, the numbers, and that was the first time that I partnered with someone with money so that they can do a flip with me, and we did one flip, did okay, and then he's like, I got more money, let's do more, and we continued to do more, and I partnered with him with multiple deals. Eventually I was also doing my own.
You're putting your money away.
Putting my money away. And that's how I started flipping, because first I partnered, didn't have a lot of money, but I knew how to do it. And that's something I teach about flipping. Flipping, you don't have to have a lot of money, you just have to know how to find the deals, right? There's always someone with money. And if you're willing to do the work, someone will split the deal with you. Whether you split it 20-80 or 60-40 or 50-50, there's always going to be someone to give you the cash. You do the work, start building your capital, and that's why I started. Eventually, Lucky only had enough money. Let's just say he was maybe capped at $1 million, which is a lot of money. I was like, dude, I can get more deals. So I went out and I found more investors.
There's hard money lending and all that stuff now.
But I wasn't using hard money back then.
Okay.
Back then, hard money was not as available, and also it was very expensive. So instead, I went out and I found a bunch of investors. So I think I had over 10 investors. You know, some will give me 200,000, some will give me $500,000, some will give me $1 million, some will give me 180,000. So I had all this. I had over $10 million of money, and I would buy the properties under their names, manage the whole project, and I will get a piece of the equity, and then I will get my commission, and that's how I continued to flip. Eventually, after doing maybe over 100 flips with multiple investors, I found a big investor. I call him my whale. There was a guy that had a couple $100 million, and he's like, hey, I've been watching you. Let me check your numbers out. They did. They're like, man, you're bringing some great returns. Can you work with us? Sure. So I started working with them. Kicked all the other investors out. It was too much headache.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
At the same time, I was still doing my own flips, you know, on my own, because now I have more money. And then eventually I just worked with these guys, did over 100 deals 1 year, just with them, 100 flips in 1 year.
100 flips in 1 year.
And then just continued to do it. Eventually, market turned. We couldn't get as many as the auction. We still bought some REO and stuff, but eventually that dried out too. And eventually it was hard to find deals. So I kicked all the investors out. Of course, I grew my capital, and I just do my own deals. You know, I do my own deals now. I also lend money. So if anybody needs hard money, I also lend money to investors. And here and there I partner with people. So if anybody ever has a deal and they want to bring me in, I'm always looking for partners.
Awesome.
So there's just a lot of different ways that I could help people. I teach how to flip. I do events, masterminds. So, but then to go back to HUTV, so I'll give you the story a little bit about the flipping. Because 5 years ago we started doing a lot of videos. I used to hate videos. I used to hate the camera. I used to hate having to talk, especially because of my background, my accent, and all that past experiences. We decided we need to do more video, and we started doing a lot of videos for the office. Eventually I started doing flipping videos. I don't know if you've seen some
I've seen some, yeah.
And I started doing funny videos, just being myself, doing stupid stuff. And long story short, I ended up doing an article for LA Times with a big investor from Pure Street. They did an article, and then that guy pitched me to a producer for HGTV about, hey, there's a guy in Pomona that's really cool, you should probably check him out, I think you could do a show with him. That producer goes online, searches my name, and all my videos pop up, and Jeanette's videos, and then he starts watching us, and he's like, oh my god, these people are pretty cool. Wow. So, because of all those videos we did and all that exposure, the next day he called us, and he's like, hey, I want to meet with you guys, I think you guys can do something with TV. And we're like, I already been pitched a couple times, so we were like, should we do this again? But long story short, they met with us, and they liked us, and we went through different steps, and eventually we got the show. So Fearless Fix, it aired earlier this year. They put us on hold for now. We're not going forward with the show right now, but at least we got the experience. It aired. It was a fun experience.
What are some things, key things that you learned from that experience?
I learned, just the video and having to be ready for camera and being yourself and not being so self-conscious of how you look. I mean, because I tell you, working with them we worked for about 3 to 4 months shooting a couple different scenes and stuff. I mean, it's like you gotta be ready all the time. I used to be where to go on camera I had to be perfectly ready and needed a script and hold on, does I look good and all these different takes and all that. And now it's like, I don't care, dude. Put a camera in front of me. I'll just be me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
So, I think we learned that just be yourself. Sometimes I didn't used to like to shoot video in front of other people. It's like, not too many people. I need privacy. No, I don't care now. I mean, you're shooting, with like a crew of like 6-7 people and all kinds of stuff going on, and it's like. One thing I do learn about reality TV is that there's not real TV. I mean, it's all basically scripted.
Yeah.
So that's the truth of reality TV because they do have a script. I mean, the reality of our show was that we did buy a house, we did remodel the house, we did flip the house. That was all put in on video. But of course, they want to have a story, and then they also want to add their own lines, and they all want to add their, because you're doing a lot of design and talk about that. So there's certain things that they definitely have to script so they can put the show together, right?
Right.
And sometimes those scenes we will have to do them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And it's like sometimes it's 4 o'clock, you're tired, you've been shooting all day, and you still gotta do a couple more takes. And it's like, come on, guys, energy, come on, get the energy up. And you're like, shit, I'm tired. And
doing the same
the same freaking scene, and then eventually, you're with your wife, me and Jeanette. Sometimes you're telling her something, stop doing that, and then she gets mad, and then you get bothered, and you can't show that, and you gotta snap out of it, and you gotta shoot. So
adaptation, you gotta adapt.
You gotta adapt, and if you think about it, I mean, in our business, especially real estate agents, there's a lot of times that there's a lot of things we gotta do, but we're like, I don't feel like doing it today, and you don't do it because you're your own boss, right? But you don't have that person behind you, like, did you do your job? Exactly.
Like in a W-2, they're on top of you.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. If you're an athlete, if you are a doctor, if you are an attorney, I mean, you can't be like, oh, I don't want to work today, I don't feel like it. No, you just gotta be there, and you gotta be sharp, you gotta be on point. If you're on TV, if you're shooting, if you are, imagine a newscaster, you gotta be on camera, ready to go, prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my wife too, we learned that, hey, showtime is showtime.
Yeah.
Just gotta go and do it. It's not like I don't feel like it. So for us, I mean, we have our days that we work, and the days that we work on our schedule, we are like this, and it's showtime. And then the days that we're off, we're completely off. I don't answer my phone. I don't do videos because I want to be at a lower level. I want to be relaxing. I want to be present with my kids. So I think that's another thing that you have to be, on point.
You know how to separate your personal from your business.
Exactly. No matter what's going on, you're having a bad day, you're gonna fight with your wife, you have crap going on, you just gotta be on it, So.
A couple last questions, Christian.
Yeah.
What drives you right now? And where do you see your company 5 years from now?
What drives me is
because you have some great success right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot of people could just chill right now.
Yeah. What drives me again? I mean, my family is obviously my motivation. There's all these goals and things that I want to accomplish, but I think it's like a game. I know there's so much more I could do and give, and as much as some people even tell us like, wow, you guys grew such a big company, and what's next and whatever. I think we wanted to go bigger. We want to go bigger, but we want to build it correctly. We want to continue to grow, but with a strong foundation. We want to stay consistent. We definitely want to make more money. We have bigger goals. So all these things we know we can accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just the excitement of knowing that you could do more and you can grow more. And right now, one of the big things like I'm totally into is education. Continue to learn. I'm plugging with people like Sam. Obviously, Sam too, and guys like that are like doing amazing. And when I hang around with someone like Sam, pushes me to do better. And when I hang around with my buddy Hector Padilla, you should probably get him on a podcast.
We're gonna interview him on Friday.
Is he?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Tell him I say hello.
Yeah.
Hector, I see I pitched
Hector.
you, bro. You owe me. That Hector's pushing me. He's like, dude, you can do this, you can do more.
How did you meet him?
Hector, I met him back in. I used to be a Tom Ferry coach.
Okay.
Like 12 years ago, and he was also one of the Tom Ferry coaches back then, and we met. And we stayed in touch ever since in real estate. So, hanging around with guys like that. See, I think that's another tip I want to put out there. Surround yourself with other successful people that are doing better than you. Because you want to be like them.
Exactly.
You want to grow. You want to get pushed.
You want to model their success and put your own style into it.
Exactly. So, and guys that are doing more than you, they'll push you and they'll call you the bullshit that you're. Pobrecito, or you don't know my story. Successful guys, they don't care about that. And if you bring that shit around them, they'll cut you. They don't want that.
Yeah.
When I surround myself with people, I don't want to hear, their drama. Oh my God, you don't know what I went through, or this, because we all go through that. And it's like, dude, lose your story. Like, think about the positive. Like, come up with
change the
ask
way
me questions on how to grow. What can I do? How can I push myself?
So you've done training with even Darren Hardy.
Oh my God, that was amazing. We just came from that.
Yeah, I saw that.
See, we did a 3-day. It's called High Performance Forum. Darren Hardy. That best training ever I ever experienced. And again, we did that because we want to push to the next level. Those are the type of trainings that big CEOs, company owners, successful people are taking to take their businesses to the next level. So it's just for us this year, and include my wife into this, it's been a year of growing, learning, just really planning on how we can do bigger things. So
awesome.
we're just gonna continue to grow.
The better it gets, the better it gets.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, Christian, man, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know that I got a lot of value myself. I'm honored to sit down with you and you giving me the time. And it's crazy, man. It's again what he says. It's like you just gotta go out there and put in the work. And exactly, I reached out to you. I didn't even know if he was gonna be willing to do the interview, but exactly how I reached out to Hector, to Sam, every person that I've reached out to is, I know that you guys are people that are bringing value and that I could learn, and I want to surround myself with those people. I want to be around that proximity because again, it's getting me uncomfortable. I'm nowhere near your guys' level, but I know that I will get there within time. If I'm around the right people and I'm applying the stuff that you guys are teaching, we will get there within time, and that's what we want to bring to the audience. So you guys could cut your time in half and get better and reach out to Christian. Where are some platforms that they could reach out to you if they want to get into the real estate space?
You know what? Facebook, but I'm maxed out on Facebook. I don't have any more friends. But Instagram, of course. You guys could always email me. My email is simplechristtian@christianfuentes.com.
We'll
obviously
put it on the link.
Yeah, if you can put it there. Remax Top Producers. That's the name of our real estate company. So we're obviously recruiting always. We have a saying called "Success is contagious."
Mm-hmm.
I'm always putting that out there because
Absolutely.
I do believe if you surround yourself with other successful real estate professionals, especially when you come to my office and you see the success stories of a lot of our agents that
the type of caliber that you have in your office.
the caliber. But I tell you, there's agents here that join that used to do 10 deals a year. Now they're doing 20, 30, 40. There's agents that join making 20, now they're doing 100.
Wow.
So why is that happening in my company? Is because we'll share. You are surrounding yourself with other successful real estate professionals. I'm also helping you. I'm coaching you. I'm training you. I'm giving you direction. And obviously then you can go and take action.
Right.
And then start building your business. And that's what I'm noticing about that. A lot of the agents out there are lost. They just don't know what to do.
We're running around in circles.
Yeah, they're always up and down, inconsistent, stuck at 10 deals every year. And when you join this company, you realize that there's more opportunity, there's a lot more potential that you have. And obviously by working with someone that can give you the direction, it can help you go to another level.
Yeah.
So definitely if you're thinking of making an office move, reach out to me.
Absolutely. Make sure that you guys reach out to him. He's going to teach you how to be, do, and have more for your life.
That's right.
Hope you guys had a great day. Enjoy this. Make sure that you guys replay this over and over and take some notes because there's a lot of golden nuggets that he shared with us. So Tune into the next episode, Christian. Thank you so much, brother.
brother.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Guys,
Let's do this,
have a
guys.
great day.
Hey guys, Christian Fuentes, Remax top producers. Don't forget to subscribe to Unleash Your Power YouTube channel so that you can see the story of Christian Fuentes.